The following is a presentation of 912 Sports. Welcome to On Air with 912 Sports, your number one source for high school sports. With Sean Smoke, Kevin Price, and Robbie Ross. On Air with 912 Sports is brought to you by Coastal Pines Technical College. Go Coastal. Prime South Bank. Find your prime. Robbie Robertson Ford, because Fords are cheaper in the swamp. Gibson Animal Clinic, practical solutions with limited fees. Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, the region's best orthopedic care. And Kim Smoke, licensed realtor with Crossway Realty.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
Robbie Ross here with the Ross Report for 912 Sports. A busy weekend of high school football this past week. And let's get right to the scores. It was a good one. Our game of the week, Benedictine and Ware at the Swamp in Waycross. Ware with the upset. I'm going to call it an upset. Benedictine, defending state champions in 4A. They were ranked in the top 5. Ware County wins it 14-10 to remain undefeated on the year. Bacon County, a big winner over Atkinson County, 28-14. Bacon County ends a 13-game losing streak. South Effingham over Bradwell, 45-0. In that one, it was Camden over Best Academy, 45-0 as well. Cook County over Clinch, 43-13. Effingham defeated Southeast Bullock, 42-7. Effingham has had a good start to the season. Metter over Jeff Davis, 30-15. Pierce County all over Liberty County, 45-6. New Hampstead remains undefeated. They defeat South Lake, Florida, 42-0. Jefferson County over Toombs County, 22-20. And Vidalia defeats West Lawrence, 28-0. Coming up next, KP with a full recap of the inaugural Border Classic from Glenn County Stadium right here on 912 Sports.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robertson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
Hello everybody, I'm Kevin Price for On Air with 912 Sports. This past week I was out at the Border Classic at Glenn County Stadium in Brunswick for the Georgia versus Florida matchups. 14 teams, 7 games, spread out over 3 days. 2 games last Thursday, 2 games last Friday, and 3 on Saturday, a triple header to finish it all off. Let's go ahead and recap what happened this year in the inaugural event. Some great football play from teams in both states. Georgia ended up winning the overall series, if you will, if you were doing the math on this, 4-3, but very well could have swung in either way with the outcome or two of a different game being different, and a couple of games certainly could have went either way. But in the opening game, McIntosh County Academy out of Darien, just north of Brunswick, won this game 42-8 over West Nassau out of Florida. They came up from Callahan, just a short drive away. McIntosh, the story for them was their running game. They were dominant behind a big, bad offensive line that really has gelled and started to come together here earlier in the season. McIntosh rolled up 352 rushing yards. DeAndre Bacon had a big first half for them, had a lot of good carries in the second half as well for good yardage. Ended up with 2 touchdowns. He was named the game MVP. Monte Stokes had a big night running the football for McIntosh as well. 136 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns for him. Neo West did a good job on both sides of the ball. He's the quarterback, did a good job running that offense. The MCA defense gave up 1 touchdown drive. And I tell you, West Nassau has some good little backs, so they did a good job of keeping those guys bottled up, not letting them get out and get good gains. And the McIntosh defense played well as well. So McIntosh wins that game 42-8, like I say. Game 2, again, in a driving rainstorm most of the night. Unfortunately, the weather seemed to impact and hurt Glenn Academy more than it hurt Creekside, even though both teams certainly had to alter their offensive game plans for sure. Really had to keep things close to the vest. That ball was slippery, it was wet, it was hard to hang on to. As a matter of fact, Glenn Academy lost 3 turnovers in that ball game, all fumbles, lost 2 deep in its own territory, and all 3 turnovers led to Creekside touchdowns. The final score, Creekside 21, Glenn Academy 20. Glenn also missed a extra point during the game and also missed a chance at a game-winning field goal that was missed late in the ball game and ends up falling short 21-20. But a guy who certainly made a name for himself in the Border Classic in this inaugural event, Nicky Williams, workhorse running back for Creekside, 23 carries, 224 yards on the ground, and 3 touchdowns. So he had a big night as they handed him that football left and right in those tough conditions, and he certainly carried Creekside to the win, no question about it. Now on Friday afternoon, we got it started with University of Christian against Charlton County. Played in and out of showers during this one. This one surprised me a little bit, or surprised me a lot actually. Not so much the University Christian won, but the Christians won by a shutout score of 33-0. The Charlton County team that was on that field last Friday was not the same Charlton team that I saw throwing the ball all around the place in the summer in 7-on-7s. They played without their starting quarterback. That really hampers their offense, made them one-dimensional, and University Christian was really zeroed in on Jalen Lilly in that running game. University Christian now has some good running backs, a good offense of their own. The Gray kid looked good running the football for them, but they also returned an interception for a touchdown, returned a fumble for a touchdown, so really took advantage of Charlton mistakes and won that game going away. So University Christian wins one for Florida on Friday afternoon to give Florida a 2-1 lead if you're keeping the map there. Now game 4. Game 2 on Friday night, game 4 overall was sort of a marquee matchup, one that drew a lot of attention before this thing even started, back when it was announced officially in the spring. Brunswick High School from right there in Brunswick against the Bowl School out of Jacksonville with a great football tradition, 11 state titles, one of the teams with the most state titles in Florida high school football history. Went to the state semifinals last year, had been to the state finals in their classification the 2 years before that. This was a great ball game under really a beautiful night. The rain went away, and it was a good night for high school football there Friday night. Bowles led this one 3-0 at the half. It was a defensive struggle for both teams. Had trouble moving the ball against two rugged defenses. Brunswick comes out, though, in the second half and plays complementary football. The defense set up its offense, getting some turnovers, a couple of interceptions. The offense took advantage of that good field position, punched in those scores, and ended up winning this ball game, like I say, 20-3. And Brunswick ends up now at 3-0 on the season with one more non-region game to go this week against Islands. But no doubt that Brunswick defense is tough. And like I said, the offense came through with the good field position, capitalized on the plays the defense made, and Brunswick posted an impressive victory, 20-3 over Bowles. In the Saturday games leading off the triple header, started with a good one, a good matchup on paper, ended up being a good matchup on the field. Two defending state champions from last year, Madison County out of Florida, Fitzgerald, the AA champion out of Georgia. This game was won by Fitzgerald 20-12. It was close really all the way. Both teams scored on their opening possession. It was tied 6-6 at the half. Madison County comes out, takes the opening kick in the second half, tries for a touchdown, goes for 2 points. That 2-point try failed. Fitzgerald answers that score, comes right back and scores themselves. Their extra point is good. It's 13-12. Fitzgerald goes up again with another score to make it 20-12. Madison County drove back down the field and had a chance to possibly score and tie it up, but then when their quarterback was directing traffic, I don't know, there was some miscommunication, and the snap was snapped early, and they lost a lot of yardage, and then they ended up throwing an interception there, and that pretty much killed their chances. But two great teams, two well-coached teams, both teams with really good run games. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of the matchups that stays the same next year because it was certainly competitive all the way, and both of these teams are going to end up having good runs in their respective state playoffs this year, I'm quite sure as well. Now, the sixth game of the schedule, the second game, Saturday, the middle game, if you will. We got started in the first quarter, and with a little under 3 minutes left after a Coffee touchdown that made it 7-0, the teams had to come off the field from about 4:30 to 6 o'clock. And so that delayed things, obviously, for the rest of the night, Saturday night. But Coffee County won this ball game 30-14. They were up 20-0 at one time in the first half. St. Augustine scored to make it 20-7. Came out of the locker room after halftime, scored again to make it 20-14. But that's as close as it got. Coffee went on and ran away from St. Augustine to win this one. Coffee got it done with a good, strong run game. Antoine McDuffie had a big day running the football, scored twice for Coffee. They spread the ball around among several backs. Their quarterback ran the ball well, threw it well when they did. And Coffee, of course, played good defense. Typical kind of Coffee football team, big, strong, fast in spots, well coached still with a new coach who came out of Florida, coached in Madison County, by the way, Coach Mike Coe, and picked up a win in this series with Team Georgia. As a matter of fact, that win made it 4-2. Georgia clinched the overall series, if you will, the first matchup between Georgia and Florida in this Border Classic. Before we got to Game 7, it was a 4-2 Georgia lead, and that meant, regardless of what happened in the final game, that Georgia would walk out of there as the team champion, if you will. But the final game did go the way of Florida, and it was a well of a game as well. Baker County beat Richmond Hill 35-32. Baker County led this game 28-20 going into the fourth quarter. Richmond Hill comes storming back. They scored on a 43-yard pass from Ty Goldrick to Nick Bliss to make it 28-26. Their 2-point play failed. Next time they got the ball, they scored again on a fourth down pass from the 41-yard line. I think it was 4th and 16, but the play covered 41 yards. It was Goldrick to Raven Grant. Again, I think they 2-point try failed, so it was 32-26. And then on the very next time that Baker County had the ball, their little running back, Cam Smith, wears the number 1 jersey. He's a lightning rod, if you will. I mean, speed to burn, and he got his hands on that football and he was gone 80 yards to the house, and ended up giving Baker County the lead 35-32. And still, Richmond Hill was not done. On their final possession of the game, they drove deep down into Baker County territory, had the ball 1st and goal on the 8. It came down to a 4th and 2 play on the 2-yard line, and Baker County stuffed a run, and that's basically how the game ended. They were able to run out the clock from there. So a competitive ball game all the way there between two teams with the nickname Wildcats. Wouldn't be surprised if this is another matchup that stays the same, just based on the way that one finished and being pretty well competitive all the way to the end. So again, other than the weather, a great inaugural Border Classic out at Glenn County Stadium. Kudos to all the teams for putting on a good show. A great job by Glenn County Athletics. Great job by the TV folks as well out of Jacksonville. And hopefully it will be an event that's even bigger and better next year and in the years to come. 912 was glad to be there and glad to be a part of it. And we look forward to seeing where this game goes, where this event goes from here. For On Air with 912 Sports, I'm Kevin Price.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
Well, welcome, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports, joined always is by head writer and podcast host Kevin Price. Kevin, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Sean. Another good week coming up in high school athletics, and including football. A lot of our teams are off this week, but still some good games nonetheless.
Yeah, and I'm amazed you've got a voice, Kevin. Had a big weekend over there with the Border Wars Classic over there at Glenn County Stadium. But I had a good event. Rain could have been a little bit less. Was really messy there for a couple of those days, but a good event nonetheless. But going to move on from that, and we're going to get into our game of the week for this week, Kevin. Statesboro versus Wayne County. This is a 912 game of the week. When we look back at, during the off season, we thought this was going to be a good one. Wayne's come around. Jabo Shaw's got a couple wins under his belt there at Wayne County after going 0-10 last year. Statesboro started out okay, playing a tough game against Glenn, but they kind of hit a downhill slide there over in Statesboro. So we'll kind of see what happens, but I think Wayne's probably got the upper hand going in this game.
Yeah, Wayne had an off week last week, as you know, Sean. That was probably a good thing coming off that emotional victory over Appleton County in that 7-0 ball game there in between two rivals. And, I looked up the history of this Wayne County-Statesboro game because I thought they had been playing for a long time. And I was a little surprised that the series record is a tad bit lopsided in Wayne County's favor, 28-12. And they've actually had won 8 in a row until losing last year 21-7. But when you look at Statesboro this year, Sean, they've got offense with Cam McHale and Jordan Lovett running the football. Defense seems to be their problem. They gave up 42 in that overtime loss to Glenn Academy in week 1. They did win the game in game 2, 55-14 over Southeast Bullock in the Art Russell Classic, but came back and gave up 32 points in a 32-10 loss to Effingham. And Effingham was having trouble scoring points going into that game. So for the key to Statesboro to winning this game is to find some defense. But I think Wayne County has a chance to put up some offensive numbers in this game and keep on rolling.
Yeah, they got that high-powered offense over there rolling it. The Wayne train is on the tracks, as they say. So, but moving right along, we've got Moorhaven, Florida, going to play at Appleton County. Don't know a lot about Moorhaven, but Appleton's going to try to get back in the win column after losing to Wayne. Bacon at Clinch. Congratulations to Bacon County coming off a big win. Clinch going down to Cook last week. So we'll see if Bacon can stay on the winning track or if Clinch can get back on top. Bradwell's open. Brantley's open. Then you got a big game there at Glenn County Stadium as Islands comes calling to play Brunswick. It's going to be a tough draw there for Islands, Kevin. Brunswick's got everything rolling after that big win over Bulls this past Friday night. You've got Sunset Academy, Florida, going to be playing at Camden. I'm assuming this Florida school is going to show up, Kevin, to Camden County this week. We'll get into that a little bit later, but Camden going to see if they can put another one in the W column. And then we've got another really intriguing game here, Kevin. Pierce County at Charlton. Pierce has got to go down to the swamp down in Folkestone. Pierce is rolling this year, putting up tons and tons of points. I think their defense has only give up, a couple touchdowns all year long. And then Charlton County, who had everything rolling until the Border War Classic, Charlton took it on the chin there, but played without their starting quarterback for whatever reason, and turned the ball over way too many times to beat anybody. So we'll see what will happen there at Friday night. But an interesting matchup going on in Folkestone.
Yeah, Folkestone's always a fun place to go watch a football game. It can be tough for the opposing team, particularly when Charlton obviously has a good team there at Champ Bailey Field. But, yeah, that team I saw in the Border Classic, Sean, last Friday afternoon for Charlton was not the team that I saw in 7-on-7 action in the summer without their starting quarterback. They were really handcuffed offensively and made them really one-dimensional. University Christian out of Florida, they were able to load up on that run game. And like you said, turnovers really hurt Charlton in that ball game. University Christian scored off several of those, and it was a shutout, 33-0. And I really thought that that was going to be a good game going in. It really could go Georgia's way. But, again, playing without their quarterback, they were certainly handcuffed. I don't know the issue there, not sure what's going on. But Charlton doesn't have him in this game. I don't care if they're playing at home or not. They're going to have a tough road to hoe against this tough Pierce County team. And I tell you, Pierce County may be playing as good a football as anybody in the state right now, particularly in their classification, particularly here in Southeast Georgia. They came out of the gate strong, and they haven't let off. And right now they look like a real contender in Class AA.
Yeah, almost or over 500 yards of rushing, Kevin, this past Friday night. It's going to be tough for that Charlton County defense to slow down that Big Bear attack of Pierce County. But we'll see what happens there. But, again, going to be a tough night there for Charlton, I'm afraid. But, Kevin, another game. We got Salem's going to travel over to Coffee. Salem, for whatever reason, comes down every year to play Coffee County. I don't think they're going to have enough bullets in the gun there to stay with Coffee, but we'll see what happens there. But, Kevin, do want to let everybody know we've got the latest edition of 912 Sports out. We'll got it out here. This is Trey Hargrove. Great article, Kevin, that you wrote on Trey. He is our cover story. The Ware County middle linebacker had a great game this past weekend, but we probably got a graphic up on the screen there, a little bit better picture of that magazine, but you can pick it up at all the distribution locations around your area. But if you need some, you can go online and order some. We'll get one shipped right to your front door, but make sure you pick up the latest edition of 912 Sports. Got a lot of other great stories in there. Kevin did a good one on Jaden Drayton, who is a Harvard commit right now, the Brunswick High senior there. So two great stories there in this issue, but pick up the latest edition of 912 Sports.
Yeah, it's not that I wrote the story. It's the good subject matter. And that kid's a kid that brings his lunch pail to work every day, a leader for Ware County. And you'll see in there Jason Strickland very high on him, not only as a player, but just as a person. A real leader in the locker room, does things that you wouldn't think that maybe the superstar would do. And when he does those things, everybody else knows they better follow the lead, because if he's not too good to do them, you're not too good to do them. That's picking up trash in the locker room, cleaning up the practice field, all sorts of things like that. And he's a guy that gets attention when he walks in the room. And, of course, he gets attention when he hits the opposing guy on the other side of the line of scrimmage, too, because I heard it makes a different sound when he pops you.
Yeah, it definitely does. And he had a great game, like I said, against Benedictine, is where comes away winners there this past weekend, 14-10 in that big, contest, where kind of like a revenge game as Benedictine got them last year. So, but Kevin, let's take a quick break. We'll pay some bills and come right back here and continue to preview the games for 916. But you're watching On Air with 912 Sports.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robertson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Call on us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
Welcome back, sports fans. We're going to continue on now with our 9-16 preview as we get ready to go into Friday night football here in the 9-1-2. But Effingham, Kevin, this week is going to be open. But the game we're going to talk about is Frederica at John Millage. Kevin, this is a state championship rematch from a couple of years ago. These guys have actually played twice in the last, 3 or 4 years for a state championship. Frederica's struggling a little bit right now. John Millage still seems to be the team to beat there in GIA, but going to be a tough draw for Frederica there Friday night, but should be a good contest nonetheless.
Yeah, Frederica didn't get to play last week. Just a footnote in case anybody's looking for that score and didn't see it. They were supposed to play Calvary Day School out of Savannah, the field underwater over here on St. Simon's for Frederica. They tried all day to get that field ready and had it all but ready, even though it was still questionable as to whether they could play it. And another rainstorm came in and wiped out all the work they did to get that thing ready. I know that had to be frustrating for Coach Derrick and Carl Nash, the AD there. But, yeah, Frederica 1-2 on the season. John Millage 3-0. You're right, Sean. They usually play with championships on the line. And along that line, they do have a brief but very interesting history. Frederica lost to these guys in the regular season 14-13 in 2018. But when Frederica won the championship in 2018, they laid the wood to John Millage. A complete total reversal. They were on fire that night. 48-0 with that team they had, maybe the best team in Frederica history, which included Jay Sean Sheffield and
Jalen Simpson.
Jalen Simpson. I was drawing a blank on his name right quick. But anyway, they led the way there that game. But Frederica lost big to these guys in the 2019 regular season, lost big to them in the 2020 championship game when Frederica probably, quite frankly, was just doing good to be there. And John Millage was the heavy favorite and ended up winning that game big time. Now, John Millage, a heavy favorite in this game again. Somehow Frederica is going to have to find a way to move the chains, move the sticks, probably shorten the game and, try to get it to the fourth quarter if they can. When you look at the scores so far, John Millage has rolled over everybody in 3 games, beat Brentwood 42-7, beat the Lamar School, I believe, out of Mississippi 48-7, and beat George Walton 48-0. So as you can tell, they've only given up 14 points and they've scored over 40 in every ball game.
Yeah, it's the math doesn't work out real good if you're trying to play John Millage right now. You got to try to figure out a way to reverse that. But so we'll see if Frederica can get it done. Glenn County is going to be open this week, Kevin. Jeff Davis is going to be open this week. The Calvary Day School that was supposed to play Frederica is going to be at Liberty County. Liberty coming off of that big loss to Pierce County this past Friday night. We'll see if they can get back in the W column. Long's going to go to Groves. Lanier County is going to be at MCA. That's going to be a good single A matchup there for MCA to kind of see how they're doing to get some light competition. And then the other game that we're going to talk about, Kevin, New Hampstead at Richmond Hill. Richmond Hill coming off a tough loss this past Saturday night, had an opportunity to win that game late against Baker County there in the Border War Classic. Didn't get it done. And New Hampstead right now, Kevin, rolling on the season 3-0, putting up a lot of points. Don't know that they played the stoutest defenses on the planet, but still scoring a lot of points there. So going to be a really interesting matchup as New Hampstead goes to Richmond Hill this Friday night. Can Richmond Hill kind of shake off the cobwebs from losing to Baker and get back to playing some good football? And can New Hampstead and Kyle Hockman and that high-powered offense keep rolling and keep sticking points on the board?
Yeah, this is an intriguing matchup to me, right there, in that Savannah area. New Hampstead coming to Richmond Hill. Like you said, New Hampstead rolling right along, 4-0, Richmond Hill 2-2. When you look at New Hampstead, there's no doubt they can score some points, but you do have to wonder about the caliber of the competition. 42-27 over May River out of South Carolina in their opener. May River just 1-2. 44-7 over Windsor Forest, 27-10 over Bradwell. Both of those teams are struggling. And then last week against Southlake out of Florida, I believe it was 42-0. Southlake's 0-3. New Hampstead can score now, and we'll just see if they can score on this Richmond Hill defense. Richmond Hill, Sean, I saw them last week. I saw them in the preseason scrimmage against Glenn, and I do think they are much improved in that short time window. I think they've been improving gradually. Ty Goldrick looked good throwing the ball the other night. If they were to have to get in a shootout, Richmond Hill, that is, I think they can be equipped to do that with that passing game that they showed the other night. Their best deal, though, might be to keep that New Hampstead offense on the sideline and get in that wildcat formation and pound that ball with the Gilliard kid and a couple of their other running backs and then mix in that passing game. But I don't think necessarily that Richmond Hill wants to get in a shootout with them, although they can. And we'll just see if New Hampstead can roll up these points against a better defense this week.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it, Kevin. Richmond Hill could be sitting here at 4-0. I mean, they played Ware County tough, was driving down to win that game late, didn't get it done. Same thing here against Baker County, inside the 5-yard or inside the 10-yard line, with less than a minute to go, couldn't get the ball across the goal line. So this is a team that could be sitting there at 4-0 right now, but the record is 2-2. So we'll see how they bounce back here on Friday night. Another team that's open, Kevin, South Effingham. I believe that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams that are not going to play football this Friday night because they're open week. But Toombs is going to be at Troopland. Then you got Vidalia who's going to be open and Ware County who's going to be open. Ware County with that big win over Benedictine this past Friday night, 14-10, and an old-fashioned slugfest. But they're going to get a week to get better and wait for Bainbridge to come to town next week. But that's going to wrap it up for the games of 9-16. Everybody get out and see a high school football game. And we'll be right back here next week to talk all about it on Air with 912 Sports. We'll be right back here after these messages.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Calling us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
This has been a presentation of 912 Sports.